Hey, hey, it's Rob Floyd, and welcome to Home Bar Hero on Spirits Network. We're streaming to you live through Facebook, and we're ready to have a good time. Today is going to be an incredible show. I mean, out of this world. Now, we really wanted to create a place that was safe for y'all to get to, relax, and maybe drink better. And I couldn't think of a better person to have on today than one of the best master distillers in the world. I mean, in the world. He does a bourbon that is out of control phenomenal. So ladies and gentlemen, before we even make our first cocktail, I'm gonna introduce you to Dickson Dedmon. Dickson Dedmon, how are you, baby?
Dude, listen, couple things. I want to thank you for that intro. I want to tell you, I am the furthest thing from a master distiller. I'm a blender. I blend whiskey. I couldn't distill. The people that blend or that distill are so much more talented with some of that stuff. But I just, I like to make whiskey, blend whiskeys for super talented people like you to play with, and it thrills me way beyond how I can express to be honored, to be offered the opportunity to come and talk to you. So
well, we're gonna have a lot of fun today, but right away we're gonna get right into a cocktail, right with your phenomenal spirit that you blend so well. And after we build that, and after we play with a little fire for our audience here, safely of course, then I would love, if you don't mind, to put me through how you taste whiskey. But first, let's do some fire. Let's do a cocktail. We ready?
Yeah, that sounds great.
I love it. I love it. So for those of us at home, those joining, of course, we are going to light a little something on fire. And with it right now is we're just going to take a little cinnamon stick. And with it, it's going to make the whole place smell so beautiful, because we know that taste is 90% smell. So as we can start to see this start to build up this way, we're gonna do something that I'm gonna show you on another show too, is I'm gonna take a mister and I'm going to do this. And so now we have it smoking beautifully. We have the fire kicking up like that. We get to play with some toys. And with it, we're gonna take our glass that we're gonna build this cocktail in. We're gonna put it down and capture that beautiful smoke. And as we do that, we're gonna start to build this cocktail right away, because it is Friday and we really need a great drink to start off with. So we are going to start out with Kentucky Owl, Confiscated Bourbon, and I'm gonna ask you all about that in a minute, my friend. So we're gonna start off with a nice pour of this, and we're gonna give a good pour right in there. And as we do it, then we're gonna go with, it's kind of a feel on a Bouvardier. So we're gonna go with a little sweet vermouth here, and just under an ounce. And then we're gonna go right into a little Campari. And the whole place should start to be smelling of cinnamon as we have that smoking the glass. And we are going to do a stirred cocktail here. And stirring away. One of the things I love to do too is I love to do with different salts and different ices. So I have a couple different molds that I work with from time to time, and just easy ones you can do at home. And we see this glass is already nice and smoky. I'm gonna pull it up, and I'm gonna take a little ice sphere and drop it right in. And now I am going to go right ahead and pour my cocktail over that ice sphere with this delicious whiskey, my friend, blended. And the last step to it, I am going to take an orange and just express a little oil over it. So we should have the cinnamon going through the air, and then a little bit of this orange misting in. And ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to celebrate our little bourbon cocktail right here with you, my friend. Cheers.
Hey, dude, listen, thanks for sending one up here. It arrived just in time.
It's magic.
Fantastic the way that worked out.
Oh.
But I will tell you that when we talked about this, one of the things that struck me, because when we created this blend, and they said, give me a cocktail, and I said the citrus in Confiscated, that's balanced, in my opinion, with the kind of back end spice, and it's a cayenne spice. I was like, this is not an old fashioned whiskey. This is a Boulevardier cocktail. Like,
Yeah.
play on those. And I always, every time we go to a different market, I always challenge the bartenders, like, I want your riff on the Boulevardier with Kentucky Owl Confiscated. That's what we do. So,
well, I'd love to hear what you think of this one. Give it a taste, and then I'm ready to go through a tasting. I want to see what a master blender does, how he explains, and really also a little the history of how you came about doing this, because there's a lot I want to ask you in a little amount of time. So here we go. I am ready to taste if you're ready to teach.
Well, let me tell you something. First of all, thank you for this drink. It's beautiful. Spot
awesome.
on.
Awesome.
Well done. In my limited experience, I've developed my own kind of way of tasting and way of creating blends, and I grew up in the hospitality business. I grew up in the restaurant, hotel. I'm a child of the keep it simple, stupid.
No silver spoon for you.
Yeah, while I appreciate everybody who wants to talk about notes of this and hints of that and things like that, for me, it's important to taste whiskey and really and make it as simple, easy, and approachable as possible. And so, when you taste whiskey, I think it's more important to focus on how it reacts on your palate.
Okay.
Weeded bourbons and bourbons that take most of their profile from the barrel, they're sweeter in front of the palate, and bourbons that are driven by higher rye and things like that, they're more back of the palate. And what I wanted to do with the whiskeys that I created was create complexity. I wanted to develop complexity. I wanted to blend barrels that I thought would give a little bit of that, and then
did you do that instinctively, or was this something that you always thought or imagining yourself blending?
I didn't learn anything. I didn't go to some school for this. It was just I kind of fell backwards into it, and I really come at it from a culinary background, from cooking and working with in food. And so one of the things, like when I was creating this Confiscated, and that's what I enjoy most about this particular whiskey, is even at 90, whatever it is, I can't remember, 96.4 proof, I think when you taste it, you forget about trying to say, oh, I get hints of this, notes of this.
Right.
I get, just taste it and let your palate tell you where you taste it. And the idea with this was to create complexity so that from the tip of your tongue all the way to the finish on the back, it resonates all the way across.
So let's give this a taste, because I want to go through this resonating to get, this sounds awesome. So give it a little taste. I'm looking for that finish all the way through. What notes should myself and for people at home be looking for?
That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get like sweet citrus on the front, and it's gonna work. It's like you draw a line from the tip of your tongue all the way down the back, and that's where you're gonna feel it. And there are other whiskeys, and there's nothing wrong with them, but a lot of times they sit in one spot and they don't leave it. And I wanted to create that complexity where you can go back to it and say, okay, I picked this up here.
Right.
I did, and it just
it's beautiful. It has a lot of different layers. It almost tells a story, and I think that's so cool about your brand, because it has an amazing story. And in fact, we're gonna make another cocktail, and then I want to ask you about what happened in 1916, because that blew me away. This is phenomenal. It has great length. It stands up. For me, you get that great, luxurious, like beautiful vanilla, that caramel that comes through. And with that caramel, I want to kind of play with something, a very popular cocktail right now. I'm sure that you've had before, a ginger cocktail. They usually do with vodka. But this is so phenomenal. I want to use a little fresh berries, little strawberry with it. Your product here, because it's awesome. And I want to see how that caramel comes right through the ginger. So we ready?
Do it. Hey, set that close so one of those guys behind the camera can have a sip of that.
They don't get anything here. No one gets it. It's
they're
all
working
mine.
hard. Go on break.
All right, let's go right ahead and let's do a little take on a mule, if you will. But we're going to have it confiscated. And so with it, we're going to take a little bit of ginger here. And as we throw a little ginger in, we're then going to take a little strawberries as well. Because it's spring, we're dreaming of summer, we're having this incredible spirit. We're loving it, we're sharing it, we're maybe not sharing it, and we're ready to muddle right away here. Simple cocktail, because the spirit is so beautiful, you want to find ways to highlight it. And so we're going to just go ahead and muddle and press right here. And as you see right here in our glass, we can see what it is there, and the smell is beautiful because you get that fresh strawberry, that ginger coming through, and I can only imagine how incredible that caramel is going to be in it. We're going to take a little citrus and a little agave here, just about equal amounts of both. And then, of course, we're going to do one of my favorite now, the confiscated right on in, and we're pouring 2 ounces because any less would be a sin. And after this cocktail, I'm really looking forward to some of these questions that are popping up. And really, there's so many times, Dickson, that people get a chance to ask these. I'm so excited to hear your thoughts on them. I'm going to ice this real quick. And ice our glass. And we're all going to shake. Those of you at home, let's shake like a rock star, like a home bar hero. Let's flex, let's smile, let's be that Tom Cruise, if you will, on the beach and Kokomo song playing and shaking away and having some fun with that shake and popping, straining the last bit out. And now we're going to put in our ginger beer here first and let that cocktail rise throughout. And here we are. Are we ready, Dickson?
I'm in.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to zap one right to you. Is it working? You'll have to finish the other one.
It's coming.
It's coming. Oh.
I'm going to make one. Yeah.
Oh, well, that caramel comes through. It is phenomenal. If you don't mind, could you really quickly tell us about what happened in 1916 to your family's business?
You know, it's a great thing about the the confiscated story is that, so my family, it's another great story. 1876, my great-great-grandfather gets married. He is given the funds and land to build his own distillery. So he builds this distillery, CM Dedmon Distillery, and he makes Kentucky Owl. And with the onset of Prohibition, not only did they force distilleries to cease production, but they actually came and confiscated all their inventory. And he was a small producer on the Kentucky River, 3 rick houses, and they came and they seized about 250,000 gallons of his whiskey, rolled it right down the banks onto barges, and took it with the. With the story being that it was in government warehouses,
So it's safe. It's in government warehouses.
It's totally safe. Yeah. Oh no, it's completely taken care of. And, so the reality is that most of that stuff was all taken and sold on the black market, and then they burned a bunch of empty warehouses a few years later and sent them a letter and said, "Hey, we're really sorry, but these warehouses mysteriously burned, and we can't tell you how bad we feel about your loss."
So all the liquor was gone?
Gone. So 15 years, my family spent some money and time fighting with the government to get any money back, and they just kept saying, "Hey, look, we feel really bad for you. We're here for you." And so when we were thinking about creating a new concept with Kentucky Owl, I thought, shoot, let's let's do the high-end barrel proof batches as the new brand, and let's create something called Confiscated as a tribute to those barrels that were lost.
That were lost forever.
Yeah, so that's the story behind the Kentucky Owl Confiscated. That
is awesome. I have a question, if you don't mind, from Lester Purry. Being a Southerner, I guess, are you using a lot of corn in the whiskey?
Well, yes, because you have to use 51% corn. And that's just a. But and we use more. But yes, as a Southerner, I think corn is very important.
Oh, that's great. Then also, what about when you've tasted a bad whiskey? What are the notes? And Sean Grant wants to know, what are the notes that come across when something's just not right?
Again, for me, and I'm not a novice, but I'm not I'm not a school trained, it all is where it resonates with me. So if I taste a whiskey and it gets to the sides of my palate, if I feel like I'm keeping it on the sides of my tongue, that's when things taste bitter. That's when things taste green. That's when they get tannic. That's when they, So
it's like a tell for you, like when people are tasting.
It's a total tell for me. So I really focus on, and I build blends based on kind of the location of where I taste them. And if they get, I just have certain parts of my palate where I'm like, okay, this is wrong and we need to fix this. And
right.
And typically what I tell people is that to me, bitter is sides of the palate. And so that's usually a red flag for me.
Yeah. No, that's great. Listen, because so many people are going to want to ask you questions. What's the best way? Is it best to get you on Instagram? But what is the best way for them to be asking you things? Because there's so many questions on here. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to all of them today.
I am at the Old Owl on Instagram. That's the best for me. I'm at the Old Owl on Twitter, but I don't do it. But at the Old Owl on Instagram is the best for me, and I love that interaction. I started a thing called Whiskey in a Box a couple weeks ago. So every day my team picks they'll pick a whiskey and they'll pour it in a glass and then put the bottle in a box. And then I do a video where I taste it and try to figure out what it is. And then I reveal what's in the box. And
that's awesome. That's really cool. Let's move on to our last cocktail here. We're going to do a really quick, if you love, but also before that, for those of you watching at home, this is how cool Dickson is. He said that whoever works with the best cocktail posts it and tags Spirits Network, Rob Floyd Entertainment, and Dickson Dedmon. We're going to decide who's the winner. And the winner is going to get a bottle of his bourbon, $120 value, sent to you at home for you to be able to enjoy. So they're going to make sure to tag. That's how you win. And let's make this last flip together. Are we ready?
Hey, let's do top three.
Three?
I'll send 3 bottles.
Oh, he's sending 3 bottles. I love it.
Let's do 3.
Oh my God. That is great. 3 bottles. Get ready. I want to see some great tags. I want to see some great pictures. Let's knock this last cocktail out. From 1862, this is a Jerry Thomas cocktail. It is an flip, or actually an egg white cocktail. Most people say, I don't like egg whites. I don't like that sort of stuff. Think of a lemon meringue pie, and then you're going to get exactly what this flavor is. The actual texture becomes velvety and creamy. Again, this time we're using a little lemon, and we're using agave there. And then we're going to use 2 ounces again of this beautiful confiscated bourbon. And we're pouring it right in. And then we're going to do 2 separate shakes on this. We're going to do a first shake with ice. And then the second shake without. The reason why is we want to chill it really well. And we want to break down the protein bonds and strands right now. And it's going to aerate the cocktail. So we're going to shake first. This is the hero part where you get to look around and be like, I'm making it. And then when it's nice and cold there, you pop it, strain, and then we're gonna stream this right into here, and we're gonna shake without ice. So shaking without ice is gonna sound like this. Very smooth and silent. And it becomes super velvety and creamy. And now we are ready to pour. And as we pour here, we have our glass, we have our egg white cocktail, and we don't even need the strainer. We can do a great pour like this. And you'll see how creamy it is on top. And you'll see in 1862, Jerry Thomas egg white cocktails have been around a long time. Think of them as a lemon meringue pie. Think of them as absolutely delicious and very fun. I'm gonna just test this just to make sure that we're okay here. Oh, and that's incredible. First of all, I wanna say thank you so much for everybody who came in today. Dickson, thank you for being here. 3 bottles that are gonna be sent out from you. These are absolutely incredible. I'm just blown away. I'm very grateful. If we didn't get to any of the questions, we will get to them personally. We will make sure we answer them. If you have any questions for him, reach out to him. Thank you, Spirits Network, for giving us a place, a really fun happy hour for Friday. And thank you, Kentucky Al, because Dickson, this has been awesome, brother.
Dude, you're a superstar. Thanks, Spirits Network. Thanks, Rob. This is, I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
No,
dude.
thanks, brother. And cheers, cheers, cheers. Thanks for such a great spirit.